Hi, and welcome to Danny After Dark. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a notification or a new episode. Tonight, I'll be doing a case review. And I looked back, it's been several months since I've done a case review. I've just been going really hard on reviewing books, which not a bad thing. So yeah, I'm really excited to do another case review. And this is a case that I had been following and just been wanting to talk about for a really long time. So I'm looking forward to being able to review this case with you, especially if there are any of you watching who aren't familiar with it. But before we get into that, a few administrative stuff, and then we can kind of dive on in. But let's see who's here tonight first. Richard, hello. Capone, good to see you. Capone, we need to save that bar where we went. Yeah, that they're moving locations or so. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Sad. Lil Milky, hello. Of course, Fiddle, good to see you. As anybody else comes on in or anybody who is watching who is not in the chat, thank you for joining tonight. So the few administrative things to get out of the way. So CrimeCon UK is this coming weekend. So for anybody who is overseas and is able to attend, please still do so. There will be amazing podcasters, friends of this show that will be there, and I'm really excited for them to be there. So definitely check that out if you are in the UK area. Also another podcast event, the True Crime Podcast Festival will be here in Massachusetts in Danvers next month in July, and I will have a booth there. I'm very, very excited, and I can't believe it's next month. It's been like so many months away that I'm like, oh my God, it's really next month. So there are still tickets available for that. They just announced that they will be doing day tickets or day passes. Before you had to buy the full weekend, which was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now they are doing just a day pass for Saturday only. So that's a cheaper option for anybody who wants to go, but maybe can't afford to go for the whole weekend, or timing-wise can't afford to go for the whole weekend. Check out the day pass for the Saturday. And that is the weekend of July 18th. And again, that is here in Massachusetts. And your girl will be there at my very own booth. So check that out. Also, anybody who missed my post, there is new merch at the Danny After Dark store. So definitely check that out. I am so excited for it. Paul, thank you to the Paulcast for designing. And it was just a random little back and forth of like, hey, create something cool for me. And yeah, he delivered. It has Danny After Dark and a cat and a candle. Oh my God, it's so me. It is so me. So check that out. I did post it, but we did update the merch store with some new merch items with that same graphic logo. So I'm really excited for that. So I got my order in. No, I have a shirt and sweatshirt coming of that. So stay tuned for that. If you want to see what it looks like, I will be getting it and of course wearing it on the show. Also, as always, links to all of my social media handles and different websites like merch and all of that stuff is down below in the description bar. So always check that out if you don't know where to find me. Lastly, last little administrative thing. Y'all are going to be mad. This week's True Crime and Chill. So I got a lot of dance this week, a lot of dance classes. So I think I might be able to just like be on later Friday night with just like, let's just hang. Because I've danced Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I'm like straight out booked, which is fun and I love it. I'm not complaining, but I know that takes away time from this. So I think after dance practice on Friday, I might just kind of come on and it'll be a very low key, like chill. We will see. I say that, but last Friday I got home and I was like exhausted. So we'll see. I will keep y'all posted, but I think that will be the plan because I know I can't do Saturday at all. So it might just be Friday because there's a lot of stuff going on in the Karen Reed trial that I just need to talk about with you guys and gals. We just need to talk about it. Messaging with Beckham just ain't cutting it. So yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned. I will make this work. If not, yeah, I will make this work. So stay tuned. So a few other people came in and then we will go ahead and jump into this episode. Let's see. Karen Diamond, hello. You are looking pretty. Hope you're well. Thank you. Oh my God, Karen, you are way too kind. Oh my gosh. Beckham, you could take a note on how to enter a chat and be polite. No, thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. That's very sweet of you. I am doing very well. Thank you. Hope you're doing good too. Beckham, Danny, tell the world how fabulous Mr. Beckham is. Now, Tony Stewart, hello, good to see you. You let Paul design some merch. Fiddle. It was good though. Like it was very good. I was very pleasantly surprised. Yeah. But then that also means like Paul did something great for me. So now I'm like, oh, I got to be nice to him. And that stings, but it is what it is. But Paulcast isn't here right now, so y'all feel free to go in. Let's see, Tony L, good to see you. The number one, oh yes, number one and number two Tonys. Good to see you, hon. I will make it work, Tony Stewart. I will make it work this week. Karen Reed. Yeah. So did you guys see, before we jump into today's show, did you guys see that clip of me screaming last week for David Dinetti when I went to the courthouse for the Karen Reed trial? Oh my gosh. Like not my original clip that I got, but Law and Crime, they were down in front of the courthouse steps where the journalists and news reporters are allowed to be. So they got that different angle of David Dinetti walking in as well as Bob Alessi walking in. And you can see Dinetti blow the kiss towards me, like, you know, from a ways away. And then Alessi makes the comment like, everybody loves David Dinetti. And like, it was, oh my God, that clip has gone everywhere, which is wild. I had a friend message me at work last week and she's just like, girl, like this clip is going thousands and thousands and thousands of views and shares, like different Twitter, like I'm not on Twitter, but different Twitter accounts. Like it's so funny. I'm just like, oh my, like I'm not on camera, but like, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm that girl that's screaming for David Dinetti, which is so funny. So funny. And y'all that know me here are just like, yeah, that's no surprise. That's Danny. But it's just so funny how that Dinetti, I love you. I know. I decided to just shoot my shot. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And boy, did I get reamed out after by a state trooper. Sure did. I sure did. But anyway. All right. So let's go ahead. What is this, Beckham? I had strangers on social media tell me to appreciate my friend who yelled at Daddy. What? Beckham, that's hilarious. So stupid. All right. So let's dive into tonight's case review. Again, it's been months since I've done one. So has anybody who is here watching live at the chat, please indicate, or if you're watching on replay, leave a comment. Let me know, have you heard of this case before? And it is the murder of Sarah Everard. It is one of those truly just tragic cases. Anytime somebody is murdered, it's absolutely horrific. There is no reason for it. But when somebody is murdered when it's by a police officer, it just really makes things a lot more scary as a society, because police officers are supposed to be the ones that are here to serve and protect. And when they're the ones doing harm to citizens, it's just a level of distrust that I dare to say, does that ever repair? Does that ever go away? I don't think so. And it's horrible because the actions of every group, no matter what profession, has, a few bad apples here and there that really just spoil it for everybody. But when it comes to something like law enforcement, it just hits a little bit harder and in a different way. So with that being said, Sarah Everard, she was born in 1987. Her parents are Jeremy and Susan Everard. Sarah was one of 3 children, having a sister, Katie, and a brother, James. She grew up in York, England, and in her higher education years, she studied human geography. Sarah ended up working as a marketing executive. So now we get to the night of March 3rd, 2021. Sarah was walking home from a friend's house in Clapham, South London at about 9 p.m. when she was abducted. The next day, Sarah's boyfriend had been unable to reach her. They had plans, and Sarah was a no-show in not responding to his phone calls. She also had a work event that she did not show up to, and all of this was very uncharacteristic of her. So, law enforcement was contacted, and the Metropolitan Police issued an alert to the public that Sarah is a missing person. They also released a CCTV image of her. Police say that she is thought to have walked through Clapham Common after leaving her friend's flat and heading towards her home in Brixton. It should have only taken Sarah about 50 minutes to get home. Now, I'm going to go date by date here for you guys. So just keep in mind the time frame that I'll be discussing these things as it's playing out. So again, Sarah went missing on the night of March 3rd. So on March 7th, police released footage taken from a private doorbell home security camera. And that shows Sarah walking alone along the A205, and I'm totally going to butcher this road's name, Poinders Road towards Tulse Hill, south of Brixton. The outfit that Sarah was last seen wearing, it was very vibrant, just to kind of put it into perspective. It was a green rain jacket, navy blue trousers, and a white diamond patterned in turquoise orange trainers, and a white beanie hat. So lots of colors going on, which means she'd be very easily seen. The next day, police say they received more than 120 phone calls from the public regarding this case. They asked anyone who might have any relevant information or any dash cam footage that they might have had, through their home security to please come forward. Law enforcement had trained dogs, and they had brought them in to search the gardens and streets around Sarah's route home in the nearby Oaklands estate, but they found nothing. Law enforcement officers also searched a pond in Clapham Common in the drains along the A205. Again, they found nothing. Police then released to the public more images of Sarah. These photos showed specifically what she was wearing when she disappeared. Now, March 9th, 2021, so 2 days later, an arrest was made in the disappearance of Sarah. But here's the twist. The person arrested was not just an ordinary citizen, it was a police officer who lived in Kent. Kent is about 2 hours away. Police also announced that a woman had also been arrested at the same location on suspicion of assisting in the abduction. Police announced to the public that they are still, quote, doing everything we can to find Sarah, end quote. March 10th, 2021. Police began searching 2 locations in Kent, including a property in Deal in a woodland area, Ashford. Law enforcement then confirms that the police officer they arrested is identified as 48-year-old Wayne Couzens. He had been serving in the force's Parliamentary and Diplomatic Protection Command. So he wasn't just your ordinary police officer. He had a little bit more ranking, if you will. Now, in regards to the differentiation between, and I think I just made that word up, between here in the States and over in the UK, I don't fully get kind of like the equivalent as to what that is. I've listened to several other podcasters who talk about this case who are from over in the UK, and they are able to explain it quite better than I did. But it's easy to look up to kind of learn the difference, or for anybody who is from that area listening is probably like, duh, Danny, this is what that means. So my apologies for not fully knowing kind of how that compares to the States in regards to the kind of level of police officer that Mr. Couzens was. But anyway, so the public now learn who he is and what he does. This is also when the public learned that Wayne had been arrested, not just on Sarah's abduction, but suspicion of Sarah's murder and a separate allegation of indecent exposure. Now, during Wayne's police interview, the story he told police, and this is really one where you take a step back and just think, really? This is what you came up with? So what he tells police is that he was being threatened by an Eastern European gang, and they were claiming that he had to have delivered, quote, another girl, end quote, because he had underpaid a prostitute a few weeks before. Yes, we all heard that right. That was his claim in regards to why he kidnapped Sarah. But he is saying, yes, I kidnapped her, drove her out to London, and handed her over to 3 men in a van, and made it a point to say that she was unharmed at the time he passed her off to these 3 men. Well, needless to say, police did not buy this bullshit. And Metropolitan Police Commissioner announced later on that human remains had actually been discovered in a wooded area nearby. However, when they made that announcement, they made it clear that they had not identified who the remains belonged to yet. But on March 11th, 2021, Wayne was taken into a hospital because what he had done while being in custody was he had a head wound that he sustained while in custody, self-harm. So he was treated, discharged, and returned to the police station where he was being held. March 12th, 2021, so the next day, law enforcement confirmed that the remains found have been identified to belonging to Sarah Everard. She was 33 years old at the time of her death. Police also confirmed that the officer suspected of murdering Sarah was not just accused of indecent exposure once, but twice at a South London fast food restaurant just 3 days before Sarah's disappearance. So now Wayne Couzens is charged with the kidnap and murder of Sarah Everard. It's at this point that it's also announced that Wayne has been taken to the hospital again for treatment to another fresh head injury sustained while in custody. So after being treated, he was then discharged and returned to police custody again. So now at this point in the case, I think it's just worth a quick pause to say that law enforcement worked extremely quickly on this. That's one of the things that stood out to me because again, Sarah went missing on March 3rd, and by March 11th and 12th, they have Wayne in custody, and they have found remains and identified them. And another thing to point out is, we've seen this not just in UK cases, not just in US cases, but anytime it's kind of law enforcement and kind of one of their own, sometimes there is kind of protecting their own, so on and so forth. We all know that story. In this case, law enforcement was not having it. They fully went after Wayne. And I think that really needs to be commended. Yes, it's one of those things where it's the obvious answer. Well, yes, it's the right thing to do. It doesn't always happen. So, law enforcement really did, do their job here in identifying him and, getting him behind bars as quickly as they could. So, just see where you guys are in the chat. Well, hello, Liz. Hope you're doing good tonight. So, and what do y'all think about Wayne harming himself twice in prison with these head injuries? I think it's very, very telling that he did not expect to be caught, and he knows. I think he knows that he is done for. He's not getting out. And how would a cop do behind bars with kind of the general public, if you will? Not very good. And he would know that. So kind of says a lot. But let's get back to the case. So on March 13th, Wayne is brought before Westminster Magistrates Court, and there he is charged with Sarah's kidnap and murder. He does not indicate a plea at this time. March 16th, 2021, the judge sets a provisional Old Bailey trial for October 25th with a plea hearing for July 9th. Well, June 1st comes, so June 1st, 2021, so same year, and police revealed that Sarah's autopsy found that she had died from compression of the neck. June 8th, Wayne appeared at the Old Bailey, and at this point, he has now decided to plead guilty to the kidnap and rape of Sarah. So I just want that clear. He is pleading guilty only to the kidnap and rape of Sarah Everard. But a month later, so July 9th, Wayne appeared at the Old Bailey via a video link, and he eventually decides to plead guilty to the murder of Sarah. July 16th, so Wayne Couzens is formally dismissed without notice from the Metropolitan Police following the conclusion of an accelerated misconduct hearing. He was found to have breached the standards of professional behavior in respect of discreditable conduct. On the one hand, I thought it took how many months for that to happen, but I also don't know what a typical length of time is for an officer to be formally dismissed. So to read that this happened at an accelerated rate, so to speak, I was like, okay, they were on it. And yes, he was formally dismissed. Karen says, I agree with you. Yeah, absolutely. This is just, I would love to just do a whole psychological study of Wayne Couzens, because it's just so many times actions without words say so much more than words ever do. And in this case, that is, Wayne's actions really speak a lot to him and to his character. Wait, how did he not get dismissed for exposing himself? So he kind of did. So Capone, the umbrella kind of statement that the law enforcement gave was that he was found to have breached the standards of professional behavior in respect of discreditable conduct. So they're not saying in that statement, we are dismissing him because of this one specific thing or this other specific thing. They're just kind of lumping it into breached professional behavior. So he did technically get dismissed for that, but as well as everything else. But I mean, I really would have liked to have them list out, like, this is why you are no longer a police officer. This is why you were being dismissed, because the statement that they gave, it's a very blanket statement. It doesn't, I think it kind of softens what he really did, because he did the worst of the worst. And that should be said. He should be shamed for that. It should be, I mean, we all know, this case is out there, so it's not like it's a secret. But in regards to his job, again, he was put in power to serve and protect the community. And what he did was the complete opposite of that. And I personally would, and it sounds like Capone, you might be thinking the same thing. And please tell me if I'm wrong, where they specifically say, no, you are being dismissed because of this, this, and this. It admitted to soliciting prostitution, all of this before the murder. Yes. I've read a little bit of different things, different accounts of, did his employers, did the other law enforcement officers know all of those other things he was doing in regards to, seeking out prostitution or exposing himself. There's like a few articles out there that say some law enforcement knew, but for the most part, majority is kind of, it appears that they just did not know what he was doing. So I don't know for sure. But again, in regards to law enforcement covering for other law enforcement officers with kind of other things, nothing would shock me, but I didn't necessarily put that in there because there was a little bit of conflicting. But I get exactly what you're saying, Capone. So after Wayne is formally dismissed in July, we flash forward now to September. So same year, September 29th and 30th, 2021. And this is where Wayne's 2-day sentencing occurs. And it is at the sentencing where the details of what he did to Sarah are finally stated. And it is horrific. And I will give as much detail as I feel comfortable giving without getting too into it, because it's just horrific. That I can't think of any other word to describe it. But the logistics. So the attack was planned, but the victim was random. And what that means is several days before the attack, Wayne had rented a car. He rented a car specifically to use for an abduction. He also bought a roll of self-adhesive film advertised as a carpet protector from Amazon.com. Wayne had just finished working a 12-hour shift at the U.S. Embassy, and he there was totally going to butcher that word, parliamentary and diplomatic protection officer. Wayne, when he was leaving, saw Sarah and approached her in a false arrest. So again, when I say when he was leaving, again, he had to make the drive because again, he's from Kent, and it's about a 2-hour ride to where Sarah is abducted. So again, he came off a shift, had the car, planned this. Again, whoever happened to be there at the very wrong place, wrong time, because they were walking into the hands of a monster without even knowing. But he approached Sarah again in what's known as a false arrest. And what he did was handcuffed her and showed his warrant card. In regards to what the false arrest was for, so keep in mind, we're back in 2021 here. He indicated to her it was for breaching coronavirus guidelines. So the thing is, and this is a huge part in getting all of the ducks in a row here to get Wayne behind bars. The abduction was actually witnessed by a couple who was driving past them. However, the couple that was driving by saw an undercover police officer carrying out what they thought was a legitimate arrest, so they did not intervene. And I've read so much when I was doing the research for this about like the comments of like, they could have interfered and, take a step back. anytime I've seen arrests happen as I'm driving by. I've seen plenty of them. Maybe it's just where I drive, I don't know. But the thought, I've never myself or seen anybody pull over, walk up to that situation and say, hey, what are you doing? Is this all right? Is it like, that doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen. So I can totally see where a couple just kind of driving by sees, oh, it's at night, someone's getting arrested, they did something wrong. Like just or whatever thought kind of goes through your mind, because you never stop to think, well, gee, is that a real officer, or is that because it was a real officer. Think about it. Had they pulled over, that was a real officer. He had a real badge. So he would have easily been able to say, here's my badge. This is a legitimate arrest. You can go on your way, to the people that would have stopped. So it makes perfect sense why they did not stop and intervene. But I've read so much, about, this couple could have said, and it's like, no, don't put that on them. Put this on Wayne, because that's where all of the blame lies. So Capone adds, so is that like the equivalent of a Marine embassy guard? Capone, I'm thinking so, but I am not up to par with like my UK versus US kind of law enforcement equivalents. So I don't know. But if somebody does know and is like, hey, no, this is Danny, this is the breakdown, this is what this means, please leave a comment and let me know. So again, the couple drove past thinking that this was a legitimate arrest. So what we again learned here at the sentencing hearing is that Wayne then drove to Dover in Kent. Once there, he transferred Sarah into his own vehicle. Then he traveled to a remote rural area nearby. It was there where he raped and murdered Sarah by strangling her with his police belt. At 2:31 a.m., Wayne had left Sarah and left the scene, and he was actually observed at a service station buying drinks. The next day, when the search for Sarah was increasing, Wayne decided to buy fuel and then go back to where he had left Sarah and burned her body. He also purchased 2 green trash bags, which he used to dump her remains in a pond near an area of woodland that he had actually owned. So Wayne's trial resulted in him being found guilty. And again, he had put in a guilty plea, but nonetheless, all the details had to come out. He had to officially been found guilty, and he was sentenced to life in prison for the rape and murder of Sarah Everard. After the trial, it is worth noting that several vigils were planned across the country. However, several were canceled after London police said that the vigils couldn't go forward because, and here's like the kicker in all this, they were citing coronavirus restrictions. So let that sink in for a second. The way that Wayne used his law enforcement status to abduct Sarah was citing breaking the coronavirus policy at that time, 2021. And now there are vigils of people that want to do this, to hold this in her memory, and law enforcement saying, no, you can't do that because of coronavirus restrictions. It's just one of those, like, come on, not cool. But anyway, that did not stop a lot of people. They gathered anyway at a makeshift memorial where Sarah was last seen. Most importantly, Sarah's disappearance and murder sparked an outpouring of grief and rage across social media from women who were now sharing their own experiences of sexual assault. This also shined a huge light on the epidemic of violence against women and girls in the UK. That is the case of the murder of Sarah Everard. So, any thoughts, comments, questions on this case? Again, was this one that y'all had heard of before, or was this a brand new one for you? It's one of those cases that honestly just really, something about Sarah just really resonated with me, and it has for several years now. And it's just such a tragic case, but also to see that so many in the UK really decided to stand up and be like, this happens and we are done. Like, this happened to Sarah. This is unacceptable. We are done. And yeah, just not caring and going forward. It's just, to see that movement come from this was really, like, reading about it. I condensed it quite a bit, but there's articles upon articles that you guys can look at if this is something you did want to deep dive in a little bit more. And you can read all about the activism that has come from this case. And on the one hand, this murder of Sarah never should have happened. But to see what so many people have done with that anger, that rage, that frustration, and just gone full forward ahead, like, we are not taking this anymore. It was just such an empowering thing for the community and country to do because of Sarah. Hi, Matilda. Good to see you. No, you were good. You were good. Technically, I just finished up, but you were good. You were good. Yeah, on the one hand, like, I tried to go back in my mind to 2021. Like, I get it. But again, I was in the US in 2021, not in the UK. So I have to think, like, okay, obviously, any laws or procedures that were happening because of coronavirus in that pandemic time, it would have been different than what I was experiencing here, for example. But for law enforcement, like, I get very, on the one hand, yes, like, law enforcement has the good law enforcement has a job to do in regards to, we're in the middle of a, coronavirus outbreak here. We are doing our best as a country to minimize spread and all of that. I get that. I respect that fully. But then on the other hand, when it's, yes, but one of your law enforcement officers abducted somebody, kidnapped, raped, murdered by using the coronavirus card, and I say card, if you will, as the means to do that. And then the people that are like, we need to stand up for this. Well, you can't, because of it just wasn't good. Wasn't good on law enforcement's part, but it was a horrible kind of situation to be in. But again, I gave kind of minimal details on what happened to Sarah after she was abducted. Again, it is very disturbing. And if this is something that, again, this case interests you and you want to deep dive a little bit more, you can certainly find a little bit more research out there. I just kind of kept it at the basics, what I was, going to share with y'all. So I will be on replay crew. Well, awesome, Matilda. Thank you. Did he really end up having ties with organized crime, or did he just make that up? Asking since he was obviously corrupt. I did not find any ties. I did not find any ties to organized crime where he was. So I did not find anything of that. Karen said, women of the world unite against violence against us women. Danny, I've never heard of this case. Poor Sarah, rest in peace. Love to her family and friends. Beautifully and well said, Karen Diamond. Thank you. Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. That is very well written. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of wrap up for tonight's episode. If anybody has any last minute questions or comments about this case, please let me know. If you are watching this on replay, and again, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments of the video. And let me know when you're watching it. Have you heard of this case before, or is this brand new to you? And I'm excited to come back tonight and cover a case, because I was looking back And I was like scrolling month after month, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have not covered like a case in months because I've just been going super hard on book reviews, which is fine. And I've been loving every second of it, but I've kind of missed covering cases with y'all too. So thank you for those of you who have been here watching live. I very much appreciate it. And for those who have been here but not in the chat, thank you for being around here as well. So again, the True Crime and Chill will be later in the week. Date to be announced. I will make it work. It will probably be a very, very more so chill with a little bit of true crime talk. And when I say that, meaning like we're just going to talk about the updates in the Karen Reed trial this week. Let's kind of be honest. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for joining again. Make sure to like and subscribe if you are not already, so you don't miss any new episodes or posts or notifications. All right. And remember, until next time, everybody, we don't live in darkness. Darkness lives in us. Bye, everyone.